It's been discovered that the Department of Homeland Security has put together intelligence reports about the work of journalists who covered the protests in Portland, Oregon. It's being seen as an abuse of a government system that was created to share information about terrorists and other violent threats. Throughout the past week, the DHS's Office of Intelligence and Analysis has distributed 3 open-source intelligence reports to federal law enforcement agencies and others. These summarized tweets were written by a New York Times reporter and the Lawfare blog editor-in-chief. The reports showed that they had published leaked, unclassified documents about DHS operations in Portland. The Washington Post obtained copies of the reports that include written descriptions and images of the tweets as well as the instances they had been liked or retweeted. After the Post published a story Thursday evening about DHS collecting these reports, Acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf directed the DHS Intelligence and Analysis Directorate to immediately discontinue collecting information involving members of the press, said a department spokesman in a statement. In no way does the acting secretary condone this practice, and he has immediately ordered an inquiry into the matter. The acting secretary is committed to ensuring that all DHS personnel uphold the principles of professionalism, impartiality, and respect for civil rights and civil liberties, particularly as it relates to the exercise of First Amendment rights. Some of the leaked documents that the journalists had posted and written about showed the limitations of the department's understanding of the nature of the protests, as well as techniques intelligence analysts have used. The Lawfare editor tweeted a memo by the department's top intelligence official that says personnel relied on Fintel baseball cards of the arrested protesters. Fintel is a shortened form of financial intelligence, as well as finished intelligence. The cards were relied on with the hope of understanding the arrested protesters' motivations and plans. Military and intelligence officials use these cards for dossiers of suspected terrorists. DHS intelligence reports are unclassified and typically used for sharing analysis with federal law enforcement, state and local officials, and certain foreign governments. Their purpose is not for sharing information about American citizens with no known connections to terrorists or other violent people who are exercising their First Amendment rights, said current and former officials. This has no operational value whatsoever, said John Sandweg, a previous acting general counsel to the department. This will just damage the intelligence office's reputation. He called the efforts with the journalists incredibly dumb. Officials familiar with the reports said they're consistent with the aggressive tactics of the Intelligence and Analysis Office in Portland. They worried the office is overstretching the boundaries of its authority to handle Antifa protesters for Donald Trump. To broadly disseminate an intelligence report, including to numerous state and local law enforcement agencies, about a DHS leak to a reporter, strikes me as bizarre, said Steve Bunnell. He was previously the department's general counsel during the Obama administration. Bunnell said if officials were concerned about unauthorized disclosures, they should have reported it to the Inspector General. He added that disseminating these reports has nothing to do with DHS's original mission. Earlier this month, DHS personnel were authorized to collect information on protesters who were threatening to damage or destroy statues and memorials, whether or not they were on federal property. This was expanding the department's reach significantly. The intelligence reports on the journalists have been described as provided for intelligence and lead purposes and have been deemed necessary for the intended recipient to understand, assess, or act on the information provided.